Well, hello people of YouTube. It's been a couple of months since I made a video, the finished room, and here we are sat in it in a minute. I just wanted to make a quick video today, just going through a few questions that everybody keeps asking, such as how big is it, how much did it cost, where did you get this from, where did you get that from. So I thought instead of constantly typing the same answers in the comments, which I really appreciate, got loads of lovely comments from everybody. So I thought what I'd do was just make a quick video answering some of the common questions. Then if someone really wants to ask me a question in the comment, I could direct them to this video and hopefully it'll answer any questions that they've got. Right, so what I'll do, I've got also, while I'm doing the video, I've had a couple of additions to the man cave. One of them being, I've installed a projector, and I say a projector screen, it's a temporary screen. We're on lockdown, struggling to get all the stuff, and so it's an old roller blind, but it does the job, it works really well, but I'll show you, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper than buying a proper screen, although I would like a proper screen, you know, the one with the electric and everything, so it comes down and looks to business, but it does the job. So I'll get that up and running after I've answered a few of your questions, and show you how it works and how I'll put it together. Right, so I'll start off first of all by going through my list, right, of questions. There's only a few, but it's the same question over and over again I keep getting asked. One of them, how much did it cost? Right, to build the whole thing, obviously I do this for a living, so I do get a fair few good rates and discounts from various builders, merchants and tradesmen, things like that. So I would say if you're doing this as a DIY project, I would expect to pay probably 5 to 10% more than what I've paid for materials, because I do get a decent discount. I do spend a fair bit of money every year with a lot of the merchants, and also some things I've salvaged from projects that I've got to lock up with. Every time I do a job and I've got a few bits left over, blocks and things, I'll put them to one side, and I've obviously used them on this job where I can. So start off, material costs such as the concrete footings, obviously. And the hiring of material, the hiring of machinery, things. I mean, the hiring of the digger. I mean, that was tied into a job I was working on. So I was working on a job during the week when I needed the digger. Brought it home at weekend. Dug the footing out really. So it cost me nothing. But the actual concrete itself, around about £300. The block work. Around about 700 blocks I think went into the whole building. They're usually about £100, £90 a pallet, about 190 to 100 blocks on a pallet. So you could say round about 700 quid, give or take. The roofing sheets, the timber that went, you know, the OSB3, probably a couple of £100 there. Obviously you've got under the insulation layer and above the insulation layer, so they're about 20 sheets or so. They're around about 10-12 quid a sheet. Again, I think if you were going down to your wicks, you might pay 12-15 or something like that, but the EPDM kit, which I think really good. To be honest, I don't do a lot of roofing on the rubber flat roofs and garage roofs and things like that, so it was the first time I used the EPDM rubber kit. I got it from rubberforroofs.co.uk. The whole kit costs around about 440 quid, something like that. But the good thing about the kit is you go on the website, put in your details, your size of your roof, what slope you're having, and it basically works everything out for you. And then the kit that the supplier comes with everything to do that size of a job. Even including, if you wanted to, the scissors for cutting the rubber, everything. So all the rollers, everything that you need to apply, you can get a kit for that. It all comes in one job lot. So I thought I think no more than 440 quid for the entire roof, for everything, for the adhesives, as one package, and it just turned up, and it was so simple to do, and it's really nice job as well. So I think if I do somebody's garage roof or something like that, if they ask me, I mean, I've got a mate who's a roofer. Well, I've got a couple of mates who are roofers actually, and if I want to get roofing jobs, I'll chuck their customer's number their way. But if it's something, a little project that I could get on with, like that, I don't mind doing it myself nowadays instead of passing it along. So fascias. Now, anything that's plastic, it's expensive if you ask me. Underground drainage, downpipes, gutterings, it's ridiculously priced, but it is what it is. Now the fascias for all the way around I got from Direct Plastics off the internet, obviously delivered, and you were looking at around about 300 quid for all the plastics, and that's for all the soffits as well, and the guttering that goes around the back, but it's only one length, so it doesn't take a lot really. What else we got? The insulation for the whole job, probably about £400 to £500. There's a fair bit gone in. It's a 100mm cavity in the build that's got the Rockwell insulation all the way around, and obviously then the internal wall is all insulated. That's got 75mm in, and then the roof has got because it's the warm roof, if you've watched the warm roof video, that's got an insulated roof as well, so that's got 70 or 100mm. I can't remember now, to be honest, but anyway, about 400 quid. And then we've got stuff like electrics, plastering, TV, sofa, because everything in this room I bought to do the build. And I bought the TV off eBay. It was quite a decent telly, Samsung telly, 55 inch, and I got it off a bloke for I think around about 200 quid. But it's like brand spanking new, it's dead rate, so I can't really complain at that. The sofa I got off the same guy. I think he split it with his missus. He was selling everything in his house, so I said, well, how much you want for your sofa? And it's a Next sofa, hardly used, 250. No, I paid. He wanted 200 quid. I offered him 150, and so I took it. I went back down and got it after I got picked up the sofa off the TV. But what else we got? The UPVC doors and windows, probably the biggest one-off cost. Like I say, I wanted the shed to be secure, so I've got the UPVC, well, the composite door on the shed were £900 on its own, and obviously I wanted it nice and fancy. The stainless steel handle were an extra £100. That's included in the £800 or £900 for the door. But if you look online or anywhere, the price of composite doors aren't cheap. But I did want it to be secure, and it is. And then the patio door, I think that came in at around about 1100 or something like that. So I think I was looking at I think I paid him £1,800, the guy, for the two sets of doors. So that was the biggest one-off cost. So basically, totting everything up with the amp and everything for the surround sound, and I bought the ceiling speakers and everything in here, the radiator. I think I've got it coming at just over 5,000, and I've been able to spread that cost out obviously over the 8 months I've been building. It's just ticked over this 12-month mark now since I started. I think it was April of last year that I demolished my old shed, and obviously now we're in April 20. I'll be in April 2020. I'll lose track of all days with the COVID-19 thing that's going around and not working, and I don't even know what day it is today. But anyway, yeah, so you're looking at around about £5,000 all in. I would say if you were going to build one yourself and you weren't connected or you weren't in the trade, and you were just a DIYer, I would probably add at 10. If you wanted something a similar standard, I'd probably add 10 to 15% on the whole cost. So you may be looking at a top end price of round about six and a half. But again, it depends on what level of finish you want, how much stuff you've got of your own that you can put into the building, and things like that. Right, moving on. the next question that a lot of people have been asking me is size. How big is it? Right, well, the total width, the external dimensions across the garden are 5.5 metres. That's from outer edge to outer edge. The depth from front to back on the external walls is 4 metres. Now, that's the biggest I could get away with in the garden. So the total footprint of the building, if you look at it from above, is about 22 square metres. Now, obviously the internal measurements are smaller than that because I've built it out of double block work. So the actual walls are all 300mm thick, because they've got 100mm block at the front, 100mm cavity, and then 100mm on the internal block work. So all the way around, you will lose 600mm to your internal, obviously 300 on one wall, 300 on other, and same on the sides. So you lose 600mm to your internal dimensions. So the internal footprint is about 3.3 deep by 4.9 across. But again, I've divided that in two because I've got this man cave area and then I've got the shed. So the shed internal width is 1.9, and I think it's and then obviously 3.3 long, and then in here it's 3.3 long by 2.9 wide, because obviously this internal wall takes up about 100mm with the battening. So I built this internal wall with the idea behind that when the kids grow up and they stop using this room, if I do want to workshop or anything like that, I could knock that internal wall down and turn this into a complete room with my shed and shelve it all out. But at the minute I quite like it as a bit of a cinema room, games room for the kids. So that's the size. That's all the size done. Right, planning. Somebody said, did you need to get planning? Now, well, I looked on the council website for the local council where I live, and I went through all the guide rules of whether I need planning permission, and I made sure that this building fell within permitted development. Now, might differ from in your council from area to area, so it's worth checking on your local website, or worst case scenario, give the council a ring, ask them, and give them an idea of what you wanted to do, and they may be able to help you and let you know whether you need planning. You'll certainly not need building regs unless you're building a great big structure, but if it's not attached to the house, you shouldn't need building regs at all, unless it's ginormous, obviously. But I made sure that I went boundary edge to edge. Now, if I were building a timber building, a timber structure of this size, anything over, I think it's 15 square metres footprint, needs to be built out of non-combustible materials, or the majority of it. So basically, if I'd have had it, I couldn't have, which I looked into, and you were probably looking at about £20,000 for like a timber lodge of the same sort of timber outbuilding of the same sort of size. Now, if I swap this to say for a timber structure, it then would be against planning permission. I would have to try and get planning permission for it, because with it being timber and it'd be edge to edge of the boundary, it would be beyond that 1 metre rule. I'm guessing it's for fire regulations. If it's ginormous building, it's all built out of timber and it's within 1 metre of your neighbour and it caught fire, and it make a fair old mess. So I made sure that it is a blockwork building, and the height you judge to on the height. If you want to go over 2.5 metres to the top of the pitch of the roof, depending on what sort of, obviously the roof, the highest point. Now, I think it's a 2.5 metre rule, and I've just managed to keep it under that by about 20 mil. It's it was one of the things that were restricting, because ideally I would have liked to have put more insulation in the warm roof to make sure it's really snug in winter. But if I'd have done that, I would have gone over the building regs for the planning permission for the height. So I made sure that I got the right amount in to keep it below that. But saying that, obviously the building's been over winter now, and we've used it all year round. Got the radiator, I keep it ticking over on the lowest setting, or basically the freezing settings, and it basically, if it drops in here below 7 degrees, the radiator kicks in and just brings it back up to 7-8 degrees. But after that, we've not really had any problems. I think I've never seen it below 7 because of the radiator. But like now, what we're in April, and I think we've had 15-16 degrees outside. When the sun's got on the window, we've had internal temperatures of 22 in here. It gets really nice. It's lovely, to be honest. I'm sitting here, have a cup of tea with the doors open, and the kids playing on the garden, and driving me insane. So yeah, it's cracking. Can't wait to get back to work, to be honest. The other questions that keep cropping up: where did I get my LEDs from? Now, I got my LEDs off eBay. If you search eBay and just search for I think LED, just general 15. I've got a 15 metre run, but the company got it the kit. They did it in various lengths, and they supplied the LEDs, the transformer, and the remote control, and then the Colvin. How did I get the Colvin, and where did I get it from? All I can say is, I'd got this one from Toolstation. The code of it, if you search Google, it's IL4 Colvin. Now, they do various different ones, which I guess are like IL6, but the particular style I've got is IL4 Colvin. And all it is, it's just a slightly recessed Colvin. It come in, it's it's not quite composite, but it is a plasticky feel to it. And it's like a pre-primed. You can paint it straight away. All I did was mitre it to the right lengths, pin it up, stuck it with the Colvin adhesive that I got from Screwfix, pinned it with some little nails for it just to temporarily hold in position, and then once it had stuck, 24 hours, pulled the pins out, filled the holes, painted it, and then the LEDs come with a sticky back tape it off, and it's just taped in all the way around, and the outlet is up in this corner that goes through into the shed, that's on a plug, which is plugged in and switched on, and then that plug is wired to the light at the side of the patio doors that's just behind the camera, so that when you switch that on, that plug, it gives power to that socket, which obviously turns the lights on. So yeah, so that's the questions, the common questions answered. Obviously, any other questions you've got, just put them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them, like I have done with all of them. And like I say, I really appreciate your comments, and there've been some really nice ones. And I think I've inspired a few people to build the man caves or the garden rooms, because since I've been at home with the COVID-19 shutdown, lockdown, which I've had to close my business for a few weeks, so I've been at home fed up. I've been quite grateful for having a man cave, to be honest, and I think a lot of people have decided that they want a bit of space. It's nice to be able to have your own little area away from the family, or the kids can get away from us, or vice versa, and it's just a little bit of extra room, because we're only a small garden that we had, so we never really use this bit of patio that I built the man cave on. Right. So that's the question answering session done. So what I'll do now is I'll go through a few of the bits and bobs extras that I've added while I've been off since I did the last video. One of them being the projector and the projector screen. I still haven't got round to doing the skirting boards fully yet. They're cut and in position, but they haven't been stuck on yet, so don't shout at me for that. And a few things that I've had to change slightly to make the building work for us, such as the internet and the Wi-Fi setup. So we'll crack on. Right, so as you can see, this is my projector. It's an old one. It's on here 720p. It's one I had in the house years ago. In fact, one of my first ever YouTube videos is on the projector. So I've put it in ages as some way to have it, really, because you weren't getting used in the house. So obviously the electrics, and you got your two HDMI's that I set up coming through. One's to the surround sound amp, well, the AV receiver, and then the other one is a spare one that comes out under here should I want to plug the laptop in and, you know, everything for the laptop. I mean, ideally I set up the man cave for the Euro 2020s, and it's gone up the Swanee these days, isn't it? But you know, and then this is my old roller blind from the living room. Now I did used to project onto it in the living room because it fit perfectly in my bay window, but I've got it coming down, so it fits quite nicely actually in between the surround sound speakers. I'll drop that down and then I'll show you the projector all switched on. There you go. Let's put a demo on of football on here so it looks spot on. Just got no Euros to watch, like, so I'm a bit gutted about that. But if it's showing up with like sometimes with lines on the video, I think that's because it's a video watching a video, so I've done that before if you watch my projector video, but I can guarantee study it looks spot on. So there you go, that's my projector. Another thing I've added, security wise, is wireless, it's set up on a network link as well, but a wireless security camera. It's quite good. I think it sent me back about 50 quid from PC World, I think it were. And what it does, it works as two sort of things really. One, I've set it up on its own Google account, so that between certain hours of the night time, if it's got a motion detector on, if it sets off, it's got an alarm on it. It sounds an alarm. It's quite noisy. But also, what it does is it sends a notification to my phone. So no matter where I am, if I'm in bed or if I'm on holiday or anything like that, the notification comes up between the hours that I've set it to, which I can change at any time. If I go on holiday, I can have it 24 hours a day to get a notification for knowing nobody's going to be in, but I've got it set obviously while we're in bed and late at night when I know the kids aren't going to be in here, and if it detects any motion, sends me an email, and then I can drop straight on, look at the link on my camera through the app and just check what's going off in here. And that same in my tool shed, it's exactly the same setup, so it's good to know that I've got a bit of extra security in here. And that's one additional extra that I've added, just to give me peace of mind. The other one, because we're on lockdown, I'll show you, is I put the outside socket on. Still not got round to doing anything else, but I've put my socket on, but it's gonna have to come back off the wall when I get it rendered. But obviously with nobody working, I can't get my building rendered either, so there you go, that's another addition. And then the only other thing that I've had no trouble with the internet, I can stream through the network cables, I can stream eBay, I can stream YouTube and all the apps that's on the TV and everything really well through the network link. The only trouble I had is my lad, when he's sat in here, gets no signal on his mobile, so I thought I really need to try and get Wi-Fi in this area, because I were only getting 1 bar signal strength from my home router to the end of my garden. So all I did is I got the Wi-Fi repeater, and I've plugged that on a plug in the shed. So what that does is that sort of picks up the signal from the house that's weakest, then sort of amplifies it back and gives us full Wi-Fi signal in here. So we can use stuff like, I don't know, stuff like we've got he has the Amazon Fire Stick plugged in, and obviously that's not connected via a network cable. it's Wi-Fi, but you can stream the 4K off that quite easily. Now it's got full signal in here, whereas before it was obviously cutting out every now and again and starting to buffer. But other than that, that's probably all I've got to add to the project at the minute. I want to get on with the garden, but so I can start that video, but I can't get on with that because I'm not working. I don't really want to spend too much money. Plus, the first job obviously is going to be the fencing down one side I need to do, and then after I've done the fencing, I want to do the paving. Now, I don't want to do the paving until the building's been rendered, because I don't want to get render all over me expensive porcelain paving that I want to put down, so and get footprints trampled everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'll try and get on with the fencing if I get some supplies to do the fencing, if I don't get back to work soon, because it's not a massive expense. You only want 4 more panels of fencing, and then it's just have to be a case of wait until I can get the rendering done to the front of the man cave, so that I can then get on with the paving. So I'd just like to say thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. If you haven't already subscribed, click the subscribe button. Thank you for all your lovely comments, and let's stay safe, stay at home, and save lives. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.